Hi, and welcome back to Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants, the go to podcast for holistic health seekers looking to harness the power of nature for health and healing. I'm Jen. I'm a passionate health educator, a whole food plant based culinary coach, and a master herbalist. And I'm here with Dan, who is an exercise specialist and a wonderful master herbalist. Together, we dive into the world of natural healing, bringing you a wealth of knowledge and practical advice. We draw from both traditional wisdom and modern science with herbs and foods to help you achieve optimal health. So today's episode's all about something that is backed by 100 clinical studies, and that is how certain foods can significantly lower your blood pressure. So Dan sent me an article last night to look at, and I was like, wow, yes, this is right up our alley because we're all about using food. The body is beautifully and wonderfully made. And given the right nutrients and the right circumstances, it will bring the body back into balance and repair itself and restore blood pressure naturally. So, what are we talking about today, Dan?
Well, we're talking about certain foods, and the good thing the good thing is these foods aren't exotic or they're easy to find in the local grocery store,
Yes.
and they have there's a nutrient. I don't know. It's called flavonoids. I don't know if you've heard of these before, our listeners, but certain plant foods have something called flavonoids, and they help lower your blood pressure, but they also help lower things like inflammation. And that's one reason they help with blood pressure so much. But I
Yes.
came across this article and it was like, wow, I didn't. And the more science that's coming out is they're very, very powerful. So they found in one study for somebody whose blood pressure isn't like really high, it may lower it around 2 points. But what they found is the higher the blood pressure, the lower, like some people get maybe a 7 point lowering effect, depending on how high their blood pressure is. Because I always talk about herbs and foods are smart. They know what the body needs. Like Dr. Christopher taught us, the herbs know what to do, the foods know what to do, you know?
Yes. Exactly. And so I love being able to use these foods. And I have to tell you, so I have very good blood pressure. Like when I go in and have my blood pressure checked, they check it, they're always like, wait, I need to check it again. And I'm like, this is my normal. Yes, I have really good blood pressure. And the hilarious thing is the foods listed in this article are foods that I eat every single day. And so maybe that's why I have good blood pressure. That
Yeah.
and no animal products, don't, if I do have saturated fat, it's from nuts, seeds, coconut. But I'm trying to reduce that as well, as we've been discussing recently, because fat is so connected to um, insulin resistance. Anyway, so the foods mentioned in the article are tea, green tea, and even black tea. Didn't they say black tea?
Yep.
Green tea and black tea, berries, apples, cacao, cocoa, and dark chocolate. And so, no, I don't have cacao, cocoa, and dark chocolate every day, but I do have cocoa every day. As a matter of fact, I have cocoa in my cup right here. So, I mean, those are all delicious and wonderful.
Yeah.
Those are wonderful. Now, there's herbs as well, and there are other foods that have these flavonoids in them. But, if you think about them, we hear so much about green tea being so anti-inflammatory. And when we look at our berries, they're berries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries. These are beautiful, bright colors that are full of anthocyanins that are also wonderful for the whole body, including the endothelial lining. And then cacao. So you want to be careful with cocoa. And so it says in dark chocolate. So you don't want milk chocolate. You don't want chocolate that's been sweetened with sugar. You want, just real high quality chocolate. And something else that we have to mention is there have been a lot of studies showing some heavy metals in chocolate. So you have to be really careful about your source. I'm using dark chocolate. But how easy is it to put these foods into your diet? Now, I have to admit, I'm not a fan of black tea. That's why I asked you if black tea was an article, which it is. But black tea is just very acidic. And so, for us, for our audience, most are battling something, some sort of chronic illness. And so I wouldn't push you kind of away from the black tea, or I guess I should push the black tea away from you, not push you, and go more towards a green tea if you tolerate caffeine, because that can be an issue too. Green tea and dark chocolate both have caffeine. Anyway, I'm running on and on, so I'll let you I'll let you share some more.
I remember reading an article a few years ago about this. It was it was a tribe somewhere. I can't remember where, but anyway, I'm always reading, as you know. But these people had really good blood pressure, even until the old age. Their hearts were really healthy. They had really good blood pressure. And so these scientists went to study them, and what they found is every day they had a drink, it was made of cocoa. And so they linked it to the cocoa consumption, the reason. Now, I'm sure their diets are probably mostly plant-based too, because most of these, like rural places are mostly plant-based. But the cocoa actually causes, vasodilation when you drink it because it helps the arteries. There's a lot of foods that can do that, like beets and
Yes.
carrots and greens. But
Arugula.
yeah, arugula. And it's funny is people who eat these types of foods, these simple foods, they was talking about in the article that it can lower blood pressure as much as a low dose of blood pressure medicine, which I always tell my clients, if you're on blood pressure medicine, don't stop taking it. What you do is you start making your lifestyle changes. You go plant-based, you start exercising, you go get regular checkups, and one day your doctor's gonna be like, man, I'm gonna have to lower your dose of blood pressure medicine because you're getting so healthy. That's the way you go about it.
Yes, I love that. So yeah, so medical disclaimer. We are not giving medical advice today, even though we're talking about blood pressure. We are giving you education. So make sure that you work with a healthcare provider, especially if you're making a large dietary change and are going, if you're switching from animal products and you're on lots of high blood pressure medicines in combination of those blood pressure medicines too, and then you switch to eating whole food plant-based, you're letting the meats go and you're eating a lot of these foods, then you could even get dizzy. You could
Oh
have
yeah.
some issues there. And so you definitely want to keep an eye, check your blood pressure throughout the day if you're on blood pressure medicines and you are making these changes.
Remember, Dr. McDougall would say that if you go jump to a plant-based diet, you need to, if you're on any kind of drug like that, you need to go ahead and tell your doctor because your levels can start to drop so fast. The power of this diet to heal the body, I mean, it's amazing.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
gonna be excited about it,
Yes. And doctors will tell you not to make those changes, right? Because they don't
Yeah.
want to have to monitor you and make those changes, right?
Yeah,
Right. And so it is really up to you to take control. Find a doctor who will work with you and
yeah.
is willing to help you go off these medications, because these are medications that are based on lifestyle illnesses. And so you make a lifestyle change, then you can change that medicine. And I strongly, strongly believe in that. And so when you have a disease like this, like high blood pressure, that is strongly connected to lifestyle. And so
Oh yeah.
find a doctor that will help you with lifestyle changes to get off of these medications.
Oh yeah, blood pressure is very sensitive to lifestyle changes. I always tell people. I remember when I was younger, I lost like, I don't know, 30 pounds. My blood pressure looked so good. I mean, that's another thing is I know it's not about weight loss today, but I saw an article where if you lose, for every pound of weight you lose, no, for every 2 pounds you lose, your blood pressure could go down 1 point.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So imagine if you lose 50 pounds, that's 25 points just from weight loss.
Right. Right.
And these foods right here we're talking about will help you lose weight, berries and apples and cocoa.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah. Give up your scrambled eggs or your omelet. Switch it to, a breakfast that has berries on top. A chia pudding with
oh yeah.
berries.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're not only have you just let go of a lot of saturated fat, you've increased tons of fiber, adding all these beautiful colors. And yeah, so that's going to lead to weight loss and also increase all those antioxidants, in your body and help you lower blood pressure. So in the study, they were looking at 586 milligrams a day of flavanols, which I'm pretty sure that I easily reach, because you can get that dose from 2 to 3 cups of green or black tea. So I do have 1 cup. So I'm not getting it all from my tea. couple of apples or a bowl of berries. Well, I actually eat an apple and two bowls of berries. 1 to 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa. I have a tablespoon of cacao, or a small square of dark chocolate, and occasionally I do have that. And so I am pretty positive that I eat the 586 milligrams a day. I've never
Oh,
tracked it, but I'm pretty positive that I do.
I'm sure you eat a lot more than that because we're on a plant-based diet. But see how easy it is though for people who are like, what I had to do, well, it's easy, that's easy, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I would
2
say the more
berries,
the
apples.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the more the better. Yeah. So when it comes to certain things, so that's another thing the study said that we haven't mentioned yet is the study said it happened in the flavanols in food, but it didn't happen when they gave people supplements. And
Yep.
so I love that it shared that because out of all of your clients, what percent of your clients have asked you, what supplement should I take for X, Y, and Z? It's like
All of
every
them.
single one, every single one. You can get this stuff from your food. You can get this stuff from your food. If you have major nutritional deficiencies, I have a client who've had her a lot of her intestines removed. We do have to use supplements. But in most cases, you don't need supplements. We can get everything you need from your foods. And so I love that that's what happened. It shows people that you have to have the food. There's a synergy in our foods that does not happen in the pills. And so there's something else in these flavanol rich foods that helps us to absorb those flavanols to do the repair work to help us, lower that blood pressure that's not present in those supplements. And or those supplements have other things in them. What is the supplement made of? What is the if it's a capsule, what's it made of? If it's a tablet, what are the fillers? Things like that. And so anytime you look at a supplement, there's always other ingredients. It's not just the active ingredient. And so it could have been that, or it could just be the synergy of the other things in the food. They show that getting vitamin C from an orange or a lemon is so much better than getting vitamin C from a supplement because there's other nutrients in that lemon or the orange, especially if you have that white pith that I used to make sure I got off before I ate it. We get all those nutrients.
Yes, what Dr. Chris always taught is the synergy of the foods, organic nutrients compared to inorganic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of these vitamins on the market are wasting your money because they're synthetic and they're not
Yes.
really, the body can't really utilize those like it could in natural
I know what
food.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And if it doesn't know those other ingredients, what's it going to do with those? It's going to store them in fat in your liver.
yeah.
Yes, and there's such a rise in fatty liver disease at the moment. Yeah. When you combine these foods that I listed before with leafy greens, especially like arugula that we mentioned before, dandelion greens, foods that are high in potassium, foods that are high in magnesium, then not only are you going to drop those few points that we mentioned before, but it's going to help really repair some major damage and really create a healing environment for you.
So I know a lot of people do like to hear about herbs, and
Yeah, so
I
let's
do
talk about
too.
herbs. Yes, that have flavanols.
So the first one on the list, especially when we're talking about blood pressure and heart health, and one of my favorites is
I was gonna
hawthorn
say this is
berry.
your favorite.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I've seen it do miraculous things. So, hawthorn berry is known as cardiac food. They call it cardiac food.
Mhm.
It's a heart tonic, so I mean it's been used for centuries. It's very safe. In fact, the more you take a hawthorn, the better it works. It's just a berry. It helps to improve circulation. It can help your heart beat better, like if you had arrhythmias, it can help those. Sorry, I'm excuse me. And
Yes.
it also strengthens the heart. Like it strengthens the heart and it also protects the heart in a low oxygen environment. So what I mean is if you have maybe some clogged arteries, if you have high cholesterol, the hawthorn berry can help protect your heart in those environments. So it gets more blood and oxygen, even though you're not getting as much as you need because you may have some blockages. So yeah, hawthorn, and like I said, I have a story about a little dog, but he was in heart failure, and I put him on hawthorn and cayenne pepper, and his heart got better. I mean, true story. The vet couldn't believe it. I mean, of course. But yeah, that's the first one.
I
And
love
of
that
course,
one. And
you
I use
do.
that one too. So my husband, I think I've told y'all on here before, my husband's lost several family members that were found dead. They had a heart attack, live alone, and were found dead. And so that's definitely strong on my husband's family. And so every night he makes a hawthorn berry tea and then he drinks it for dinner the next night. And we just buy the dried hawthorn berries. You can buy them at Mountain Rose Herbs. If you are lucky enough to live somewhere where you can get the fresh hawthorn berries, then that's great. And you can eat them. You can turn them into different foods. Most people turn them into a syrup, which adds sugar. Maybe not the best idea. I just prefer to add the berries. So he just soaks them. They soak for 24 hours in water, and then he drinks them with other heart healthy herbs. But yeah, every day. Hawthorn berry is wonderful for the heart.
Next one is ginkgo biloba, which we think about ginkgo because it does help oxygen and blood get to the brain, which is
Yeah.
speaking of that, dementia, vascular dementia accounts for 90% of dementia cases, 90%, because heart disease is still such a big disease. What happens is your carotid arteries get some blockages and you can't get as much blood and oxygen to the brain anymore. So ginkgo will help you get more blood and oxygen to the brain, which I had to say in the same sentence, you match it with cayenne pepper. I mean, cayenne pepper and ginkgo, it's really
Yes.
hard to beat. I mean, they're going to work. They improve your vascular function, improve your endothelial health, improve blood and oxygen to your brain. I could go on and on about those because, Kai is one of my favorites too. So
Yes. Yes. And then we've already mentioned green tea or matcha. So these are herbs or tea that we already talked about. Now they do have caffeine in them, but they're also rich in catechins, which is a type of flavanol. We hear about green tea for inflammation. It's just one of those that's just been used for centuries around the world. Mostly we hear about it mostly in Asian countries, but and they don't just drink one cup, they drink several cups of green tea a day. Now, if you're sensitive to caffeine, that is something that you do need to watch for.
I love matcha tea. Oh,
I like them all.
yeah. Another one, cinnamon. We hear a lot about cinnamon. I've seen it in news articles and things like that that may help with blood sugar. And there are studies showing that it does have a benefit for your blood sugar. So that's where it helps with your heart because you want to make sure you get your blood sugar right because if you have erratic blood sugar, this can damage your arteries and so you want to make sure that you stabilize your blood sugar and cinnamon can help there. Also, it come to mind, apple cider vinegar helps there too.
Right, right. And I think this most of the studies are done on Ceylon cinnamon, but I'm not positive.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do need to watch for cinnamon because there are some cinnamons that really aren't cinnamon. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
you
you
do
have
want to make
to.
sure, yeah, buy from a reputable source. We like Mountain Rose Herbs. We like Holistic Botanicals. If you buy Frontier Star West, look for organic. Right.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because there's a lot of fake stuff in the supermarkets. I
So the
don't do
next
oil.
one is rosemary. So rosemary, just like ginkgo, increases blood flow to the brain. Very anti-inflammatory and wonderful for the heart as well. I think we're having some internet issues.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so then another one is thyme.
Yes, that's another good herb. It's also Thyme also has antimicrobial activity.
Yeah, and rosemary too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very antimicrobial. So all of those are also high in flavonoids. And so if you eat the foods we mentioned earlier and you include some of these teas or add these herbs to your foods as well, then you're also helping not only with blood pressure, but with cooling inflammation as well.
And that's the way to stay healthy for a much longer period of time. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
look, start where you're at. Start where you're at. You can start adding some of these foods into your diet. If you're not a perfect eater, just start adding things, okay? You don't have to be
Yeah.
perfect. I never met a
Right.
perfect person, have you?
No, no. No, but I can
No.
tell you the way I have them. So I start my day with tea. So, have green tea in the morning and putting berries on your breakfast or on next to your breakfast. I do like cacao nibs. So you can put cacao nibs on your breakfast as well. And then I like to have an apple with lunch. Using your spices like cinnamon on your smoothie, rosemary and thyme on your dinner or in a salad dressing. Those are just super easy ways to add more in. And then having a tea with like hawthorn berries later on. So my husband's heart tea is hawthorn berries, hibiscus, and he might have motherwort in there as well.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the heart tea that we like. Now it is bitter, and so you do have to like bitter for that. Anyway, I just thought it wouldn't be fair to leave you without sharing that. Anyway, do you have anything else you would like to add before we wrap it up?
I don't. Just know these foods are easy to acquire, and I even think Walmart has most of these foods, so it's not like you have to.
Yeah, you don't have to look anywhere
Yeah,
difficult to find these. Right. It's super easy to get these foods. Yes. If you want more ideas for heart healthy meals, flavanol rich dishes, or herbal support, you can find me at holisticgyn.com, and I have a membership group, culinaryhealingcircle.com. You can also meet with Dan, and Dan is a wonderful master herbalist, and he does consultations with people with herbs as well. Both of us are completely whole food plant based, and you can find Dan at danthenaturalman.com. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.